and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be talking about my top 5 favorite characters from one of my current favorite animes, the Apothecary Diaries. So I'll start from 5 to 1, with 1 being my favorite. So starting at number 5 is Guyoko. I'm not sure if I pronounced that properly. I think that's how it's pronounced, but forgive me if I did not say it properly. But we all know she's our favorite high-ranking concubine. She's beautiful, she's funny. She just adds that extra wit and charm to the show that we all know and love. So one of my favorite things about her is that she unapologetically ships Gingshi and Mao Mao. Like, it is so funny, their little scenes. We don't get to see too much of those interactions, but when we do, they are just so hilarious. The way how she quietly just mocks them almost, but it's very funny and very cute. So that's one of my favorite things about her. Also, we know she's very, very smart. The Empress Dowager even commented on this when she came to the pavilion to visit with Mao Mao. She recognized how just situationally intelligent, Gyokyo is. She's able to pick up on those little social cues. So she knows how to work her way well in the inner palace. And even with that strategic and, that intelligence, she is still so very kind. Like, she's definitely the kindest high-ranking concubine, and she genuinely wanted Li Hua's child to survive, even though he was a boy and he would be ranked above her daughter. She didn't have that, personality of, wanting anything bad to happen to Li Hua's child. I think being a woman, she was able to say, no, yes, my child and Li Hua's child are essentially in competition, but she doesn't want another woman's child to die. She doesn't want that little baby to die. And I think that was very sweet. I think that shows a lot of her personality. And yeah, Gyokyo, chef's kiss, love that character. And in the number 4 spot, we have Shaolin. I know she's a very minor character. She doesn't appear in too many episodes. And when we do see her, she only has a few seconds. We don't see a lot of Shaolin on screen. But her presence is so huge that when we do see her, she is so very memorable. So I have to put this character there. She was Mao Mao's first friend in the inner palace that we see. And actually, I think even Mao Mao's very first friend ever, because Mao Mao grew up with, in the brothel with her big sisters, but we don't really see her with friends around her age. She doesn't have friends, so I think Shaolin might be her very first friend, and I adore their friendship. They help each other out. We see on several occasions where, it's a two-way street. It's not one using the other, because Mao Mao even said in one of the episodes that she would give Shaolin food because she didn't want her to think she's using her, which I think, Shaolin, I don't think she would care either way. She has a very young, naive type of person. Well, maybe not naive because she knows a lot, but she has just a very youthful innocence about her. So I don't think she would view Mao Mao any differently, even if she didn't give her food. I wish we saw her more, to be honest. I would love to see more of their friendship. So I hope this doesn't piss anyone off, but my number 3 is Gingshi. Love Gingshi 100%, of course. He is one of the main characters, and I definitely ship him and Mao Mao. However, I put him at number 3 because I feel like for a main character, we don't see too much of Gingshi, and I could be wrong. Let me know if you disagree. That's okay. But I feel like we don't, or at least I don't, learn too much about him. We've gotten few bits and pieces about his backstory and the fact that his mom is in fact Ador, or it is heavily implied that his mom is Ador and not the Empress Dowager, things like that. And he's actually the emperor's son and not his brother. So a lot of, drama regarding like his birth and really who he is. I personally would have preferred a little more depth in that regard, perhaps like to get an idea of what is going on in his head. The majority of what we've seen thus far, he is pretended to be this eunuch, and it is a very pretentious role that he's playing. So perhaps that has a part, to play, that has a role to play in why his character seems to lack depth to me. And I'm sure as the series progresses, we will see more of him. But I'm very interested to see that. But for now, he is number 3 for me. In the last couple episodes, we see where he was kind of having a little internal battle with himself. Lacan was the main one who started to pressure him, is like, my daughter is missing. What are you going to do? You need to take up your role. You need to act as, the person who you really are. And yeah, we saw him kind of battle with that. That was very interesting. So these past couple episodes with him really taking on the role as the prince and guiding the army was very interesting. I really loved seeing that leadership, like masculine, him showing his strength and that aggression. I really enjoyed seeing that side of Gingshi. So Gingshi is number 3 for me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more from his character. And number 2 is none other than Shisui, Laolan, whatever you want to call her. So when she first entered the show, I could have never guessed that this is where her character arc would have led, and this is why I have to put her in number 2, because she is such a complex, dynamic, character that apart from Shisui just being, this beautiful bundle of joy and that bubbly personality, it's like her character, I think more than anyone, has the most development, the most depth, and just, I would have to say, like, it's just amazing writing for this character. Initially, I did not like Laolan. I didn't love her character at all. I didn't think she would grow on me, but I was very mistaken. She had that mystery going on, and I was curious to see what would happen, but I was very convinced that I would not like her, or she would turn out to be some type of villain, which in a way she plays a villainous role, but we know that under all of that, she's not the true villain. But yeah, I thought Laolan was just, at first, I was not into her. Shisui, on the other hand, I really liked from the jump. It's very nice that she was able to come out of the concubine role and just go out, act as a maid, play dress up, and go out and make a few friends and, just interact normally instead of just always having to be on, always having to be acting in this role as Laolan, which we know that is not even remotely close to who she really is. So I'm glad she had that opportunity to be herself. I love the dynamic between the 3 girls, Mao Mao, Shaolin, and Shisui. We really did not get enough time with them. Like, that's one of the major things that I'll complain about with this show, because I love the show. I think it's well done, but I have to complain about that. Only a few episodes, we really see them. Like, we'll see Mao Mao and Shaolin, or Mao Mao and Shisui, but we don't get a lot of the 3 of them. Back to Shisui only, especially in the last few episodes where we really see her taking charge, standing up to her mom. We see that growth from her just being her mom's doll to actually helping people in her clan and blowing up the whole area with the weaponry where they were producing, I think, the gunpowder or something. And the way she moved about that stronghold, like, yes, I own this. I know everything that's happening. This is what I have to do. This is what I must do. This is what I'm going to do. And just taking charge, I absolutely loved it. Like, I think she did the best that she could do with what she had. She did amazing work. Like, her dance in the end was just beautiful. Of course, it's Mao Mao. She's a star. Of course, it's going to be Mao Mao, right? I could not put anyone else in this number one spot. Mao Mao is the real deal. She's one of my favorite lead, like female lead in anime. Just her personality, like her dry humor and lack of emotion is so hilarious to me. We see the fact that her adoptive father taught her a lot about medicine and these types of herbal medicines and things like that. And she is very smart. Like, we picked that up very quickly. And immediately I loved Mao Mao because I love a smart character. Mao Mao is really a breath of fresh air. So we can tell that she's smart, but she is not trying to be seen. She's not trying to get attention. And what I think is interesting about Mao Mao, she always said her adoptive father, oh, he's so smart. He's one of the best doctors in the nation. But he doesn't exert himself. Like, he doesn't really use his skills to make money. But I feel like she's the same. So I found that very interesting that she said that about him, because she is also very intelligent. And even when she got into the inner palace and people started to recognize her talents, and the emperor would call on her, the Empress Dowager, like, all these powerful people are recognizing her skills, but she's not trying to be seen. So essentially, she is the same as her adoptive father. She just wants to be like a shadow in the background, just do her job, experiment with her medicine, be that mad scientist, and not be bothered by anyone, you know? So that's good. And in that setting, I can also understand, right? Because the slightest mistake could get you beheaded. She didn't have like that core motherly, fatherly type love in a family in the traditional sense. So she doesn't know how to process emotions well, if, I can put it that way. However, we do know that she cares for the people around her. She cares about her big sister. She cares about her granny. She grows to care about Gingshi, even though she doesn't want to show it, or she is trying to avoid it. But we all know she cares about the ladies in the pavilion, like Guyoko and the other ladies in waiting. We know that she cares, but I guess she's just not the type to really express that on her face. Like, we only see her get really excited when it comes to her medicine and poisons and things like that. So I really adore those scenes when she's like giggling like a mad woman when she is working with her poisons. I love seeing that, just physical representation on her face. Like, when she gets excited, I love to see the emotions on her face. So when she's doing her experiments, I really love those scenes where we get to see her just being a girl, being a young lady. So yes, Mao Mao is my favorite character in the show. Feel free to express your comments in the comments section. Like, let me know, do you agree with my top 5? Are they also your top 5, but in a different order? Or who would you add to your top 5 and why? Go ahead, let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.